Alright, Shalom. I'd like to say Kahalaya, Wahawadla, Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace and blessing to the acrimony will that pushes through to the four corners of the earth. Right, this brother Yaba. I'll go through a few precepts. I'll go through this article, two articles. I'll entitle it somewhere along the lines of, human trafficking is the modern day slave trading. Right, because it's more or less similar to what happened to us when we came here on the cargo slave trade. What they did, they took us and brought us from one place as slaves and brought us here to be able to do their work. And you're seeing these things even happening. We have reports of the Catholic Church trafficking children, whether it be for sexual reasons or probably organ donating or whatever the case may be. You understand? It have talk about government officials under accusations of doing these same things. And now on another hot topic is what Wayfair, which is a big furniture company, who was accused of overpricing furniture, right? Thousands of dollars more than what it actually costs, and it had the names labeled to it of people that were missing. You understand? And all this is a part of what? All this is forms our human trafficking, which is the same thing that happened to us, how we got here and to certain other places in the world. And these things that still happen to people even till today, right? No, it's not the same as, you might take a person from one place and help them to get to our next place because, they might have a hard life here. So you might help them to get to our next country to better themselves. You understand? These are the things that they might promise people, but really and truly they want to use them for either sexual purposes or for labor, to abuse them, or for organs. You understand? And all these things are against the scriptures. It says, I believe it's Exodus 21 verse 16, right? It says, he that stealeth a man and selleth him, right? Because that would as be doing when trafficking people, you're stealing them from one place and you're selling them, or you yourself taking them from where they are to bring them somewhere else to sell them to somebody else as for sexual purposes or organ wise or whatever the case may be, right? It's still a transaction. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. Right? There's something that actually against the law, and it's punishable by what? Death. I go to the article. It says, Wayfair denies internet rumor of child trafficking, CEO resignation. Right? It says Wayfair officials have publicly denied allegations that the furniture company based in Boston is involved in child trafficking. It said through high-priced cabinet sales, and that its CEO had resigned. It said following the viral spread of a bizarre internet theory that made its way around social media sites like Reddit, Twitter, and TikTok since surfacing last Friday. It said there is, of course, no truth in these claims. Now they would say that because they're trying to protect the image of the company. Because if they admit it, it's obvious there'll be lawsuits on a whole other level, and they'll be stripped of wherever money and power they have and how to go to jail. So obviously they'll deny it. Plus these people are not godly people. Telling the truth is not a part of their lifestyle, right? It said there is, of course, no truth to these claims. It said Wayfair spokesperson said in a statement obtained by WCVB, right? It says as a major consumer brand, we respond to customer questions every day. However, it is unfortunate when false allegations become a distraction when there are so many more important issues that matter to our employees and our customers that we as a company are focused on. Now, it are people who actually bring out videos on YouTube and so forth about the Wayfair trafficking and to show how When they was about to purchase the cabinet had a title of a name that was actually a person missing, and different items that they would sell overpriced for X amount of thousands of dollars that it shouldn't even cost, had different names of missing people. You understand? I don't believe in coincidence. But they wouldn't come out and admit these things. They wouldn't come out and say, well, I'm trafficking people. Right? But the proof is in the pudding, as you say in Let's Go. It said the cabinets in question were being sold for over $12,000. I think the actual price of some of those cabinets was just a few hundreds. According to the news station, it say, and share the name of a child reported missing. Coincidence? It said the company told Newsweek that it pulled the cabinets temporarily from sale. So when people realized that they were starting to put two and two together, they actually pulled all the overpriced cabinets from being on sale. And we hear why they say they did that. It said the product in question are industrial grade cabinets that are accurately priced. It said the statement to publication said, recognizing that the photo and descriptions provided by the supplier did not adequately explain the high price point, we have temporarily removed the product from site to rename them and to provide a more in-depth description and photos that accurately depict the product to clarify the price point. So they're trying to say that the cabinet was such of a high quality, you understand, that all of these things wasn't specified in the picture and detail. So they pull the information off to have to re-upload it in the future and make it and actually show why it should cost so much thousands of dollars. You understand? That is their excuse for just suddenly taking down all the pictures that had the accusation of being linked to child trafficking. Right? They say according to Newsweek, the theory originated with Reddit user Princess Peach 1987, who in a subsequent interview with the news site described herself as involved in a local organization that helps victims of human trafficking, and that because of her experience with that group, she is suspicious most of the time now. Right? I'll just read this last part here. See, from the original post last Friday, users of the various social media sites share and elaborate upon the theory. It says some apparently take it seriously and others lampooning the idea. And those others who are not taking it that seriously, that they can't be that smart, because you're actually seeing evidence that shows that these people into human trafficking. Why would you see a cabinet on one site that costs $800 or $700, and then you see the same cabinet on Wayfair's site costing $20,000 and $30,000, and it's the same picture, the same cabinet, but it have the tag of a missing person, attached to it. The tag name of a missing person attached to it. And it's not just one person tag name. If you go on our next cabinet or our next item, furniture item, you'll see the name of another missing person attached to it. And people will believe the fact that is a coincidence. You understand? Like, they believe that their leaders would never lie to them. And this is one that happened even here now. See, there's a news article I got from my brother today, brother Yassad. It say, CARICOM reports TNT officers involved in sex trafficking. And so there is not something just in the US, It even have it in many different countries. You understand? This has been going on. People still being trafficked on a large scale even today. Not like the cargo slave trade, but it still have smaller forms of trafficking even going on today. You understand? And majority of these people who does be trafficked does be what? Our people. They say CARICOM reports TNT officers involved in sex trafficking. They say corruption at the hand of state officials and law enforcement officers is a significant factor in the facilitation of human trafficking between Venezuela and Trinidad and Tobago. They say according to some of the findings of a 2019 CARICOM human trafficking study, according to investigations carried out in the Venezuelan town of Tucupita, I think it's Tucupita, they say, which includes interviews with human traffickers. Some of the gangs in the region are headed and operated by law enforcement officers from Trinidad and Tobago. Right? You see this has show you who does be the ones ready in charge of these things. People just want to act like if is the guy with the cap backwards, who have a big gold chain on his neck, who does be doing all the criminal activity on a high level. He is just a small man. He is just the front man. It's only people on top have the power to really do these things. Even when you go back to certain claims in the US, it showed that even like generals and big people in politics does really be in charge of things like human trafficking because they had the power to do so. You understand? It's the leaders as ready as be in these things. The same leaders that promise to protect and serve. They even show you like with these Catholics and them, there's be having these orphanages with these children. Sometimes it's trafficking children in those orphanages. Right? They say according to sorry, I read that part already. They say the research carried out by researcher DRC Justin Pear, they say, and assisted by Nerobis Rodriguez, they say gathered information from traffickers, smugglers, victims, law enforcement officers, as well as from anti-human trafficking organizations in more than 32 countries. They say one Venezuelan trafficker indicated that through his connection with elements in the TNT police service, he has been assured of protection by officers who advise him where to enter the country. Right? So the same ones who swore to protect and serve is the ones who actually bringing harm to people. And it do just start on that level, let's go even higher up the chain. Sometimes even going into politicians and so forth. Right? That is show you what scriptures say when the wicked bad rule, the people mourn. And the things that's happen in this world not show any characteristics of the righteous ruling. Right? You see, he also claimed that the officers provide security for the safe houses where the women are kept before they are carried across TNT in trucks, cars, maxi taxis, and vans. And yes, they not actually bringing these people into like I say, like if you're helping somebody to go from one country to the next country to have a better life, because the life that was living in the past country was hard, so you just help them to get across, and you let them go and let them try to make something in life. They actually bringing them here to use them either for sexual reasons or for labor. You understand? Like a possession. Like you steal somebody from somewhere and you bring them somewhere else and you keep them to do your bidding. Seize the passport and wherever the case may be, and they completely at your, Alright. He admitting that he was part of a gang that specialized in kidnapping Venezuelans who carried them to TNT. He said the officer, a constable, is a member of an organized South American crime network. They say he said they work together to bring across the women where they were forced to work. I say they were forced to work in many instances as sex slaves and prostitutes, right? So there's not about help. They're not doing that for the purpose of helping anybody to actually go into a different place, because the place that they're in too hard is actually to sell them, right? And we read that in Exodus. It's a to support his claims, he showed the research team the officer's cell phone number. He also provided a series of correspondence between the two men, denominating that discussions were made about human trafficking activities. It said when approached by the research team, the accused officer denied the allegations, saying he had never been a member of a gang. Asked why a known trafficker would have his phone number, the constable stated he did not know why, and that having someone's phone number is one's possession does not constitute a crime, right? But we know how that back and forward topic will go. Okay, if you admit something like that, it's obvious you'll have a lot of jail time to face. But that shows that the kind of world that we live in. You understand, where the people on higher up, it's not just like officers. It might have one or two officers. Not to say all officers bad. It will have one or two corrupt officers that might be into something like that. But that shows you that these things are still happen even today. Our people, majority at the time, our people are still be bought and sold. Even though we were bought and was brought here and brought to America, even between the land we'd still be bought and sold and treated like on a more severe slave level. Whereas how we might be slaves in this society, but we might still be able to have houses, we might still be able to have jobs, pay taxes, tribute and so forth. It have those who being kidnapped and being kept just for the purpose of being sold to men for sexual purposes, or hard labor with no income whatsoever, but just to be fed and be clothed, just like how they used to do back in the time when we were straightforward slaves, back in the 1700s and so forth, when we never used to actually have an income. Master would just take care of us and we would have to slave away. You understand? And these things that show what kind of an unrighteous system we live in. And we hope us edifying. With that, I say shalom.